Have you ever found yourself quietly observing a paradox, one that society rarely speaks of? It's the story of the woman who possesses a captivating beauty, the very quality our world seems to worship, and yet she so often walks through life profoundly alone. It feels like a contradiction, doesn't it? We are raised to believe that beauty is a magnet, a luminous beacon that draws connection, admiration, and love. Yet for so many of these radiant women, that admiration is a distant, untouchable thing. Behind the stunning facade lies a quiet, aching loneliness, a feeling that no one truly sees the person within. They are looked at, but rarely seen. They are desired, but seldom understood. The master psychoanalyst, Carl Jung, a man who dedicated his life to navigating the labyrinth of the human psyche, offered a profound and clarifying perspective on this very paradox. He proposed that our unconscious minds are shaped by universal, primordial patterns he called archetypes. These silent, powerful images don't just influence how we perceive the world. They secretly govern how we interact and connect with one another. And beauty, you might be surprised to learn, can sometimes become an invisible but formidable barrier. Not because it intimidates, but because it so easily awakens the fantasies, the insecurities, the expectations, and the projections of others, clouding the path to genuine empathy and connection. It's as if they are standing before a masterpiece in a museum. They admire its form, its color, its fame, but they don't dare to ask what the painting itself feels. Think about that moment. A strikingly beautiful woman enters a room. Before she even speaks a word, a subtle shift occurs. The air becomes charged with unspoken narratives. In the minds of those around her, stories begin to weave themselves. Fantasies are painted. One person might elevate her to the status of a goddess, a symbol too perfect to be approached. Another might see her as a prize to be won, a testament to their own status. But amidst this whirlwind of projections, how many are truly attempting to see the human being standing right before them? How many are willing to look past the gilded frame to see the actual canvas? Jung once said something deeply insightful. What you resist persists. For a woman who is constantly idealized, this very idealization becomes the thing she wishes to escape. And why? Because her intuition, that deep inner knowing, tells her that the real her, her thoughts, her fears, her vulnerabilities, her quiet strengths, is being utterly ignored. Though she's the center of attention, she feels invisible. Is the problem truly with her? Or is it in the lens through which she is being viewed? If this idea of being admired, but not truly seen, is already sparking a new perspective for you, take a moment to subscribe to Mind Decode Explained. We journey through these intricate landscapes of the mind together, every week, seeking not just answers, but deeper understanding. For centuries, beauty has been deified. Art, literature, and mythology are saturated with depictions of the beautiful woman as a symbol of divine inspiration and ultimate desire. Jung would explain that powerful archetypes such as the divine Muse or the sacred maiden, symbols of a sublime, unattainable beauty, lie dormant within our collective unconscious. When we are confronted with radiant physical beauty, this archetype is unconsciously activated, framing our perception before a real interaction can even begin. This is a primary reason why many beautiful women, despite being surrounded by admirers, struggle to find deep, lasting relationships. It's not that they lack suitors, but that they are so often treated as an ideal, not as a person with all their inherent complexities and depths. Many men, carrying their own private insecurities, project them onto her. They might feel they are not good enough, creating a distance before a connection even has a chance to form. Others may view the interaction as a conquest, focusing more on the victory of winning her affection than on the person herself. In either scenario, the foundation of the potential relationship is built on images and illusions, not on authentic understanding. And from this, the judgments arise. She's too picky. She must have a difficult personality, or she's probably just after money. But how many pause to consider that maybe, just maybe, she simply hasn't found someone who can genuinely connect with her soul? That behind that captivating face is a woman who harbors the same ordinary fears, hopes, and dreams as anyone else. Jung taught that we can only see others clearly when we dare to look into our own hearts. Perhaps the core issue isn't the beauty itself, but the mirror of the mind that perceives it. Countless beautiful women carry a silent sorrow, desired for their exterior, while their inner world goes unheard. They long for a love that knows how to see past the wrapping, to cherish the gift inside. This experience echoes what the researcher Brené Brown describes as the profound human need for vulnerability and to be seen in our authenticity, to be loved for our imperfections, not just for our strengths, but for a woman constantly placed on a pedestal of perfection. Showing any crack, any flaw, feels like a monumental risk. The pedestal is a lonely place to live. It's high above the crowd, but it's also cold, hard, and isolating. You are an object of admiration, but you are fundamentally separate from the warmth of human connection. Jung also emphasized the concepts of the anima, the feminine element within a man's unconscious, and the animus, the masculine element within a woman's unconscious. These internal images silently guide our attractions and emotional responses. When a man encounters a woman he finds exceptionally beautiful, his anima is instantly awakened. Before any real interaction has taken place, his mind has already draped her in an idealized image of femininity, a blend of his own personal hopes and deep-seated insecurities. If he feels inadequate, he will assume she will reject him. If he worships her as the embodiment of perfection, he places her on that pedestal, making the construction of a balanced, equal relationship nearly impossible. He isn't falling for her. He is falling for a reflection of a part of himself that she has unknowingly activated. Conversely, many beautiful women carry their own internal struggles. If, from a young age, she was praised primarily for her looks, she may develop an unconscious belief that any love she receives is inherently superficial. This belief can become a self-fulfilling prophecy. She might unconsciously choose partners who confirm this worldview, or she may erect emotional walls, refusing to open up completely. After all, if they only love the beautiful mask, what is the point of revealing the real face beneath? This isn't a conscious choice, but a protective strategy forged from years of experience. It's a quiet, internal whisper that says they don't want the real you, just smile and be beautiful. This dynamic is a textbook example of what psychologists like Fredrickson and Roberts call objectification theory, where societal objectification gets internalized, leading a person to view themselves through the same external lens, monitoring their appearance and suppressing their inner life. The tragedy is that this defense mechanism, meant to protect her from hurt, is the very thing that perpetuates her loneliness. So how does one break free from this cycle? How does one step off the pedestal and demand to be seen as a whole person? Carl Jung was adamant. To overcome the projections and illusions in our relationships, self-awareness is the absolute prerequisite. He issued a stark warning Whatever is not brought to consciousness comes to us as fate. In other words, if men and women do not recognize their own hidden biases and expectations, they are destined to repeat the same patterns of disappointment in love. The beautiful woman, so often cast in the role of the idealized other, will remain alone on her high platform, with few daring to approach, and even fewer possessing the self-awareness to truly embrace the entirety of who she is. This line of questioning then broadens. Why are human connections so often entangled in unrealistic expectations and projections that are far removed from reality? Jung's answer was profound. Who looks outside dreams. Who looks inside awakes. Most of us expend our energy seeking answers in the external world, in a partner, in social validation, in life circumstances. Few of us dare to embark on the journey of inner discovery. For the beautiful woman struggling with these relational dynamics, this inward gaze is not just essential, it is liberating. Because as long as her identity is being defined by the lens of others, the door to a love that transcends the superficial will remain closed. The first step on this journey is cultivating a fierce awareness of oneself. Jung introduced the concept of the shadow, those parts of ourselves that we tend to avoid, deny, or repress. For many women, accustomed to praise for their beauty, their self-worth can become unconsciously tethered to their appearance, carrying a persistent, quiet fear that if their looks were to fade, they would become worthless. Others, exhausted by the constant idealization, build defensive fortresses around their hearts. But the process of liberation, though often uncomfortable, begins with asking the hard questions. Who am I without my looks? What do I truly value and need in a relationship? When a woman begins to understand that she does not have to embody the archetype projected onto her, that her value lies in the totality of her being, her intellect, her humor, her flaws, her strength, her anger, her joy, she naturally begins to filter out superficial connections. This is the turning point. She is no longer defined by the external gaze. She begins to choose connections with those who are capable of seeing her wholly and deeply. And yet, a new challenge emerges. Not everyone is ready or willing to receive that level of authenticity. Many people remain trapped in their own projections and illusions. Therefore, the path of inner development, while empowering, can sometimes feel solitary. Not for a lack of romantic opportunities, but because a true, authentic love requires a readiness from both sides. But for those who undertake this journey, they discover something precious. That solitude is not necessarily a state of lack, but can be a rich period of self-understanding and the cultivation of inner strength. When Jung reminded us that clarity comes not from looking outward, but from looking into our own heart, he was pointing to a fundamental truth. The validation we desperately seek from others has always been available within ourselves. A woman who grasps this no longer chases the fleeting glow of external admiration. She chooses love from a place of conscious awareness. She steps away from relationships that only see the image, to make space for someone willing and able to see the entire person. She leaves the cold, echoing halls of the museum and starts to tend to her own garden. In the end, what Jung sought to teach us is this: our relationships are not merely meetings between two people. They are mirrors reflecting our own inner worlds. Perhaps the greatest challenge in love for the beautiful woman is that she is so often perceived not as a complete human being, but as a screen upon which others project their own private fantasies and expectations. As long as this dynamic persists, a true connection will remain elusive. Many men unconsciously, are not actually interacting with the woman before them, but with the symbol of beauty she represents. She might be the ultimate prize to bolster their ego, or an image so sublime it frightens them into retreat. Whatever the form, the common thread is the absence of a real connection. It becomes a dance of illusions, and the finale is almost always disappointment for both parties. Jung believed that a genuine relationship is built on the foundation of the individuation process, the lifelong journey of integrating the conscious and unconscious parts of ourselves to become a whole, complete person. Put simply, love can only truly flourish when both individuals have come to understand and accept themselves without needing the other person to fill an inner void or validate their worth. But what so often happens is that we seek in a partner what we lack in ourselves, projecting onto them our own unresolved needs, ideals, and frustrations. So where does this leave the beautiful woman? So often, it leaves her in a state of solitude, not always by her choice, but because finding a connection that transcends the surface, where she is seen for her true self, is genuinely a rare and difficult thing. She is caught between a world that sees her beauty, but fails to touch her depth. How many women have intimately known the sorrow of realizing that their relationship began with their face, but lacked any real foundation to stand on? And how many men have been held back by their own insecurities when faced with a woman they deemed out of their league? The solution is not to diminish one's beauty, but to cultivate awareness. When a man dares to confront and move beyond his own projections and insecurities, he can finally see the woman as a whole person, not a symbol. Likewise, when a woman frees herself from a dependency on admiring glances, she begins to seek and attract relationships based on genuine resonance and mutual understanding. And here is the crucial point. Not everyone is willing or courageous enough to do this inner work. That is why many beautiful women choose solitude over superficial or possessive relationships. This isn't a rejection of love. It is a choice for authenticity, a deep knowing that love only blooms when it is nurtured by the mutual seeing and acceptance of each other's true selves. The essential question is no longer, why is that woman alone? The question becomes, are we, as individuals and as a society, ready to look beyond the captivating surface and truly embrace the complex, beautiful, and authentic human being standing before us?